What is going on, everybody? Sports Expert here, and we are here with our Week 9 NFL Power Rankings. And before we start the video, please hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Turn on the post notification bell. Like the video, comment what you think. Liking the video and commenting helps us in the algorithm, so that would be appreciated very much. Helps me, helps everyone around the community, so that would be awesome, guys. So, Week 9 NFL Power Rankings after a hectic Sunday. Let's start. At number 32, we have the Arizona Cardinals coming off a pretty tough loss versus the Ravens. They're now 1-7 under Jonathan Gannon's first year. Just a talent issue. Didn't expect much from Arizona this season, and they clearly haven't played up to par, so not too surprising there. At 31, we have the Carolina Panthers coming off their first win of the season against the Houston Texans. Because they only have one win, I only can move them up one spot. And some of the other teams that are lower just maybe playing slightly better. But definitely some progress from Frank Reich's team, especially on the defensive side. At 30, I have the Chicago Bears coming off a blowout loss against the Chargers. The Bears, just not a great team. It was close. I almost put the Bears at 31, but it was very close. Tyson Bagent didn't have a great night. Just all out of sorts. At 29, we have the New York Giants coming off a tough loss versus the Jets in overtime, 13-10. They only had 8 passing yards the whole game. Yeah, you're not going to win football games with that regardless. So, looking at it this way, the Giants are just very sloppy this season. At 28, we have the Green Bay Packers. They're coming off another loss versus the Vikings. Matt LaFleur doesn't seem like a guy. The Packers just haven't been able to get Jordan Love in the offense going consistently. At 27, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. They are coming off a tough loss versus the Bears, and they play Monday Night Football tonight. Still not a great team. Josh McDaniels has proven to be one of the more inept coaches in the game. And Devontae Adams, he's a bright spot on the team, but it also doesn't help that he is frustrated. And Max Crosby, another bright spot. At 26, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are coming off a Thursday Night Football loss versus the Buffalo Bills. Seems like this team's starting to run out of gas. Todd Bowles kind of, just doesn't know what he's doing right now. It's just kind of not looking great for the Bucs. They've now lost 3 consecutive. And 5, we have the Denver Broncos coming off a huge win against the Chiefs, 21-9. You got to be pleased with how the Broncos played in this one. Patrick Mahomes obviously didn't look great because of the flu. And yeah, he was added to the injury report. He played, but the Broncos were able to take advantage. First win streak under Sean Payton. Sean Payton Manning. At 24, we have the New England Patriots. They are coming off a loss versus the Dolphins. Tough loss there. Just too much offense from the Dolphins. Not much a Patriots can do, especially with the injuries they have. See what they do at the deadline. At 23, we have the Indianapolis Colts. They're coming off another tough loss versus the Saints. The defense is just giving up way too many points right now, especially with Gardner Minshew in there. Come on. It's just got to be better than that, and the Colts are starting to show that they don't have the capabilities on defense just yet. And that's not good with Gus Bradley, because he's supposed to be a guy, and he isn't. At 22, we have the Minnesota Vikings, and yeah, they're coming off a win, but at the same time, you got to move them down just because the Kirk Cousins injury. It just feels like the Vikings are just lifeless at this point. No Jefferson, no Kirk. What do you do from now on? Kevin O'Connell's going to have some decision-making to do. At 21, we have the Washington Commanders. They are coming off a pretty brutal loss versus the Eagles because they had that game. It felt like they had it most of the time. In the fourth quarter, they just spiral out of nowhere, especially on defense. So the Commanders, Sam Howell looked really good, but there hasn't been consistency just yet, but there's definitely hope. Not sure what happens with Ron Rivera, though. At 20, we have the Atlanta Falcons coming off a loss versus the Titans. Got destroyed by Will Levis. Not great. So, Arthur Smith, what are you going to do? I mean, you benched Desmond Ridder. What are you going to do now? And they just lost Grady Jarrett to a torn ACL. Not great. At 19, we have the Los Angeles Rams coming off a blowout loss versus the Cowboys. They're starting to fall back down to earth, too. Sean McVay just doesn't have many answers right now. I think it's pretty evident. And Matthew Stafford is injured. At 18, we have the Tennessee Titans coming off that win versus the Falcons. Got to be pleased with Will Levis's performance. He looked absolutely exceptional versus Atlanta. Mike Vrabel coached a very good game, and looking to take that momentum into Pittsburgh this Thursday. At 17, we have the Houston Texans coming off the loss versus the Panthers. I feel like if there's a team that could very well lose to the Panthers easily, it's the Texans. Just because the Texans are so young, they're riding high. It's like, okay, we're riding high, but we still have to do our job. But can we do that both at the same time? I don't know. It's just so much of a young team that picking the Panthers wasn't too hard, and the Panthers end up winning that game. At 16, we have I think the Texans will be fine. At 16, we have the New York Jets. They are coming off a 13-10 win, lucky win versus the Giants. Jets look kind of sloppy, just not great. So Robert Saleh is going to have some things to clean up, but yeah. At 15, we have the New Orleans Saints. They are coming off that 38-27 win against the Colts. Big offensive day for Derek Carr and company. Really good play designs, everything. Everything worked out for the Saints in that game. So if you're a Saints fan, there's definitely a lot of hope in that division. You're looking like, I think they're the favorites right now. I think I picked them to win in the offseason, and here we go. At 14, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers coming off a tough loss versus the Jaguars. Their quarterback situation's in flux with the Kenny Pickett injury. He'll try to be available for Thursday night, but there's a very good chance he isn't. We'll see how that goes, but the Steelers are going to be very cautious with him, and yeah. At 13, we have the Los Angeles Chargers. They're coming off a nice blowout win against the Bears. Chargers doing their thing. They're winning games they should be winning. Shouldn't be losing to some random teams like that. So, good job by them. Doesn't really say much about Brandon Staley because these are games that obviously they should win. And, But Justin Herbert looked amazing last night. At 12, we have the Detroit Lions. They will be playing Monday Night Football. Tough game versus the Ravens last week. We'll see how they respond. At 11, we have the Buffalo Bills. Bills have looked very up and down at times this season. Got the win versus Tampa, but still have a lot to prove for sure. I mean, Josh Allen in that offense hasn't looked too amazing. Maybe they make a deadline pickup or something. Hunter Renfrow would be a nice fit, but without Matt Milano too, that team is definitely not structured as it should be. At 10, we have the San Francisco 49ers, who have somehow lost 3 in a row now. They lose to the Bengals at home. Brock Purdy's been kind of exposed, and that secondary is not great. They should go out and get a Jalen Johnson. We'll see what they do with Purdy, but, he'll continue to be the starter, but at the same time, it's just looking pretty bleak right now. At 9, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, who beat the 49ers yesterday. They're looking like a much better team. Joe Burrow's looking much better. He's now healthy, I guess. That's what they said. He's close or even 100%. So if that's the truth, then the Bengals have a lot going for them. So gotta applaud it. The Bengals are doing their thing. Zach Taylor. At 8, we have the Cleveland Browns coming off a tough loss against the Seattle Seahawks. And yeah, Kevin Stefanski did it again, his clowning. So, the Browns lose the game because of Kevin Denise. And yeah, Jack Smith and Jigba with the game-winning touchdown. And speaking of game-winning touchdowns, we have the Seahawks who beat the Browns 24-20, and they move up to 7th in the power rankings. Not a great game for Geno Smith, but they do get lucky because of Kevin Stefanski's inept, horrible football. So yeah. But you got to give credit to the Seahawks. They were clutch down the line. The Browns were not. So, yeah, better coaching, of course. That's not surprising. I think I could coach circles around Kevin Stefanski, but that's not saying much. That probably still wouldn't get me a coaching job anywhere. At 6, we have the Dallas Cowboys, and they are coming off a blowout win versus the Rams. Got to applaud the job that Dan Quinn and Mike McCarthy did. Dak Prescott had a good game. The Cowboys, they get the Eagles next week. Could be interesting. At 5, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they are coming off a win at Pittsburgh. Doug Peterson's team looking red hot. They've won 5 in a row now. Very consistent football. Trevor Lawrence didn't have his best game yesterday. Had some crucial mistakes, but at the same time, the Jaguars defense was able to hold and looks like one of the best units in football. At 4, we have the Miami Dolphins coming off that win versus the New England Patriots. The offense still looks sky high. And, Tyreek Hill has now reached 1,000 receiving yards in 8 games, which is absolutely bonkers. So the Dolphins, I feel like the defense still isn't amazing, but at the same time, it's serviceable. The Dolphins should be okay. They look good at 6-2. At 3, moving down 2 spots is the Kansas City Chiefs after a tough loss versus the Denver Broncos. Still a very good team. They definitely had some weird moments due to the flu of Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, didn't look healthy, and it showed. And the Broncos were able to take advantage. But the Chiefs should be okay. They have the coaching. They do have the talent. They have it all. It's just bounce back. At 2, we have the Baltimore Ravens coming off a nice win at the Cardinals. I know the Cardinals aren't great, but at the same time, still solid to win that game. But the Ravens, Lamar Jackson looking like an MVP candidate. He continues to do his thing. And the defense, is just, even with some of the injuries, they're still looking like a very solid unit. So give credit to Jim Harbaugh and Mike Macdonald. And at number 1, we have the Philadelphia Eagles at 7-1. Nick Sirianni continues to be one of the best coaches in the game. A guy that would absolutely demolish coaches like Brandon Staley and Kevin Stefanski. And Kevin Stefanski's 0-2 against Brandon Staley. So, yeah. But that's beside the point. The Eagles looking very dominant again. They did fumble in the tush push, so that was something. But they're number 1 in the power rankings here, so give them credit. I appreciate everyone being here. And A.J. Brown looks like one of the best receivers in football for sure, obviously. Like top 5, top 3. Guy's insane. 125-plus receiving yards in 6 straight games. Appreciate everyone being here. Sports Expert. Please hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Turn on the post notification bell. Like the video. Comment what you think. Would appreciate it so much, guys. I'm out, guys. Sports Expert here. Peace.